One day there will be another way. But for now, I have death threats. They are your death threat, death threat. They lie about me. They cry into me. They hide from me. They see what I possess. They slide away. Death threat. For now. Death threat. I told you they were following you. I told you they were after you. Because you tell the truth. Because your voice is heard. You want a better world. They are your death threat, death threat, death threat. They are your death threat, death threat, death threat. They are your death threat, death threat, death threat. They are your death threat, death threat, death threat. They are your death threat, death threat, death threat. They lie about me. They pry into me. They hide from me. They seek what I possess. They slide away.
Greetings in the name of the Most High. We're still reeling over the ballistics and the Charlie Kirk matter. I haven't left it as I thought I would, but I do have something to confess. Anyway, Zeph Daniel here, the Zeph Report. Zeph Daniel, musician, filmmaker, squawker, internet, just surviving on the internet all these years. Anyway, okay, so on the Diddy thing, I was completely wrong. And Diddy was given a 4-year sentence yesterday. And he, and I didn't believe, I believed he would walk. And I was pretty sure of what I believed. And I've happily, I turned out to be wrong. I don't want to be like a machine or like your resident psychic. But I was definitely wrong on that. Now, I was partially right, though, on the idea that they cut the sentence down from a lot more years in prison down to just 4, and then they're giving him time served as well. So he may only see a year and a half or so in, a year and a half, maybe 2 years in prison, because he's getting time, like I say, time served. So that's pretty lenient in a sense, but considering it's Diddy, who vetted people for Hollywood and, found put him through the sex machine to basically to train them is with the whole point. We don't use the word training enough. And I want to really emphasize that. Training is really important. It's grooming, right? But you can't just have children, go into Hollywood and see things they shouldn't see and then just start pointing and gawking, right? They have to be trained to accept it and to accept their role in it. And as in they're the object of desire. And, so anyway, Diddy would vet all these people and would be budding stars and singers. And, you go through that process and then that leads to a better agent, better manager, you know what I mean? Leads to the connections you need to have a career. But very few people actually get a career, There are very few people that would get a Brad Pitt type career. He was chosen when he was a child. And basically he'd been, I'm sure he's a troubled soul. I would imagine that most people that have been chosen into slavery and thought they were free, when they wake up to realize they're just a slave. Well, you know what? There's probably a lot of people that say, I don't care, I like the money, Give me the money, give me my, at least I can have the illusion of being free, even though they own my ass, right? So you've got, those people willing to do whatever, who actually have a desire to be worshipped, which is another, there's a term for that. We call it in general idolatry, but it's the thing that God hates the most is when the Bible says, people make a great deal of trouble for themselves when they go to other gods. That's where the trouble really begins. And idol worship, celebrity worship is idolatry. Of worshiping Christian singers and now actors, like the cast in the Jesus stuff and all that. That's idolatry, and that's again, that's wickedness creeping in via trying to put a I never have liked the Angel Studios movies. I feel something very maybe I'm an antichrist. I mean, it could be I'm just not cut out to be a Christian, but I just don't. I feel the same vibe there that I felt with like Calvary Chapel and like all these, and now TPUSA and 501c3 churches and basically in general religious spiritual church corruption is rampant to where I would call America an antichrist country, a satanic country. I don't call America a Judeo-Christian country. It's not. It may have had roots, men that were would pray together and things like that and realize that our rights are derived from God. But that's about as far as it went. It's been, a race to the bottom ever since, especially when there's times of prosperity. So why? It's because as people get elected to offices and they get power in their corporations, power corrupts and absolute power corrupts absolutely. So most of these people get corrupted, then they spread the corruption among the congregation, to where it's okay to do things that the Bible was strict on, let's say, and then they lose something. Oh, gay marriage, and they go, okay, whatever. Before you know it, they're doing pagan rites, pagan sacrifices, temple prostitutes, abortions, which are sacrifices to Molech. And I'm not saying anything you guys don't know. This is all a knowledge discerned over for me 30 years or so. And it's been, I have not been able to fellowship with a lot of, friends in the film industry, which I'd like to, but it's because they're, I don't want to put them down because we've all been there, but it is due to ignorance on their part. And ignorance on their part is what keeps us apart, not that, GZF is not following the world's rule book or whatever. All these artists want to be, don't want to be conformed to the world. They want to be, mavericks. And so they would, we were natural friends. But because of Jesus, there's a divide. And that divide is because they don't know the Lord. It's not because I don't know them or there's something I know all about the world, trying to get you to basically the world's really simple. It wants you to relax your morals and your, say you're celibate, you know what I mean? And so the world will want you to have sex, or say you're just a very a modest person, and the company that you're with, if they're not on the same page you're on, they will go after that one thing that you're guarding against, lust, let's say, and then throw it in your face, and say, don't be so judgmental, we can love each other or whatever. And you can let your hair down and all that. And the problem with letting your hair down, I'll just say it one last time, but for the The problem with letting your hair down is that's what leads to, bloodbath. And I don't know if people can understand we're just talking about having a couple of drinks, talking about having a little, getting our rocks off and watching a little porn. What's the big deal? And it's like, well, okay, is there a big deal? The sin is not the big deal. It's that if you're already aware, right, you realize that the wages of sin is death, is what, that's the truth of it, and that Jesus is truth. So it's like, most people struggle with lust, especially men, but women too, same thing. And, so the trap might be, because the demons are always ahead of you, trying to get you to fall and then admit you're not so special. You're really not a very good Christian. Come on and join us. We'll love you. We won't judge you. We want you. We want what you've got. We want. And that's how it's done. And that's how the corruption has spread to the point now where it's in every school, every university, every rock concert, every everything. It's based on the worship of the belly is what I like to call it. It's the worship of the belly. In other words, all your desires, your sex desires, your food desires, your whatever it is, it's worship of the belly, the worship of pleasure, and not taking the long view into account, and just saying, well, God's an old stodgy, based on, white supremacy, evil God telling us we can't have sex, we can't have pleasure, we can't have whatever it is, fame, fortune, money, whatever. And what kind of evil God would keep us from our dreams of accomplishing our dream of having that mansion on the hill over the ocean and having the yacht and having girls or boys or whatever it is you want when you want it, on demand. What's wrong with having a little pleasure? What's wrong with having my own private chef? And the answer is there's really nothing wrong with anything except who the person is. Like, who are you? Right? And so a lot of these celebrities are now wearing crosses. And this is very deceptive because they have no intention of changing their ways, and they people are not going to get together. And I admit I'm a sinner, so I get together with people and I drink and I tell jokes and things, but I don't get involved in relationships or when you get older, lust goes to the wayside pretty much. So that becomes a benefit, as the great Michael Savage has said. He doesn't mind. He doesn't feel the need to keep taking something like Viagra to keep that boner going. You know what I mean? He's like, I'm glad that's selling now. So, but it's not, that there's some guy that restricting you from, basically fulfilling your carnal desires. That's not the reason that you would even follow Christ. You wouldn't follow Christ just because, you could button all that up. It's when, people are trying to follow the Lord and they know that, you're being remade into a different kind of person. And that's not, you're going from a carnal being to a celestial being. And as such, there really just isn't room for, the sex God provides is in marriage, and there's just certain things, but there's reasons for that. And one reason on sex is, even if it's innocent, like I say, watching porn and masturbating and things like that, you're creating, you're creating openings in your soul that can be controlled by the enemy, and that's demons that want to kill you, that want you dead, and they don't want you to be, saved. So this is what it's really how sin can lead to things. And it's like, well, none of us are going to be free of sin. That's why we have Jesus, the Savior, who covers us in his blood and forgives our sins. But the idea of giving it, there's two ways of looking at it. There's the satanic way, which is basically the Aleister Crowley sort of, freedom slave cry, which is do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. And then there is, Jesus' way, which is pick up your cross and follow me. And that means everything that the cross is a metaphor for. It's you're on a different path. You're on a narrow path, and that's not the path of pleasure. It's the path of self-sacrifice. That's the path of love. Concern for others and forgiving others and then being a force of good in the world. Imitating Christ as best as possible and repenting when we fall short. It's being a much more conscious being. And people say, well, you're just uptight. You're just being a prude. It's like, well, I've been called worse. Go ahead and call me that. That's fine. I'm not joining in your little orgies or your rituals, which is really a ritual that nobody wants to tell you when they trick you into one of these orgies. They're really doing something. It's like I remember when we went to this concert, the Trans-Siberian Orchestra or whatever in Albuquerque, and they were trying to whip up the spirits at the end of it, and I could see exactly what they were doing. I was very close, like in the first couple of rows, and and they were trying to get everyone to get into it to let themselves go and become part of this one force of just wah, wah, wah. And this is at the encore, about ready. They'd finished the set, and now now it's like, now we're taking the gloves off. We're going to let our hair down, and we're all going to join together in this force of nature. And so we understood the pagan rites involved, and so I started praying. I went into prayer warrior. I went into warrior angel mode. I mean, I went into a fierce prayer to block it, and I blocked it. And the people weren't getting with it, like they usually do at the end of their concerts. And they just they couldn't get it going, and they were getting mad at the audience. They said, "What's wrong? Something's wrong here." And then when it was like, okay, we're leaving, they're supposed to have an encore, people didn't even clap, even though they did such a magnificent set and they're such great musicians. They didn't even clap. I mean, they got so frustrated they didn't understand. But see, what they didn't understand, first of all, they're ignorant people. There might have been one or two of them on stage who understood, maybe the music director, because he played a Jimi Hendrix lick and then looked up, and then so I thought, oh, okay, so you're tuned in, huh? All right. Well, so you saw what happened. You saw the power of Christ, the power of God, quash your little concert into a million pieces. And all those people who did not coalesce together, who didn't fuck each other, either symbolically or in any other way, or mind control, left as sovereigns, each and every one left safe. And your plan failed. And why would you even want to use a rock concert to do that? Answer, because they're recruiting. Are we all that stupid? We don't understand what's going on? They're recruiting. Rock concerts, events, things like that. They recruit for their God. Then obviously the God of rock music is Satan. I mean, that's what is the point of Satan of rock? It's that rock is supposed to be a rebellious form. Now I use it to subvert. I subvert everything. So I've got my own niche as an artist, that people can't quite figure out. But damage is done, I assure you, big damage. And just like one person, me, being able to blow the entire concert. But then it came back to bite us when we tried to go back and see Peter Gabriel up at the Red Rocks. That was insane. We got gang stock there, had to flee, and we went down to down into Denver to the hotel we were going to be at, and it was filled with like crack addicts lining the halls, all drug addicts. It was a Holiday Inn filled with crack addicts, and then a van that kept going by that kept trying to like open the door and grab us to kidnap us, and we had to flee Denver and actually get on the freeway and get down out of there, down toward Pueblo, Colorado, where
even before the concert, remember we tried to get the truck worked on?
Well, I heard in the spirit they're never going to let me in a concert again after what I did in Albuquerque. And that just shows they watch me 24/7. There is never a time that I am not being fucked with in some way, not hearing from them, not hearing distant voices or distant thoughts that I know are not mine, that are just kind of trying to edge their way in, trying to get me to, I would be pretty much a prize to them since I fought them all off for how long? What am I? How did I do that? Well, I'll tell you one thing, I didn't do it on my own volition. Just like I was used as a prayer warrior in that concert, but I didn't do the work. The work that was done is done by the Holy Spirit. It's done by the Spirit of God. It's done by fire. And those people were just completely turned off. And the same thing has happened, like when a lamb walks into a room, the room just shuts up. If you know what I'm talking about. That's why I say to lambs to try to avoid, going into a room. If that's what it's going to be, just another spiritual war, then, to be savvy about it, you just have to understand that you were chosen. You're actually, your technical definition of you would be like a Jew from the tribe of Judah. You know what I mean? A Jew in the seed of Abraham, because the seed of Abraham are those who are truly chosen by Jesus. And they're on the earth, like we are on the earth, to do these works. But we're not going to let it slide. It's like right now that there's this whole force out there of, just like, I don't know what to call them. They say they're Christians, but I can't look at them as Christians. And they're all defending Erica Kirk and the TPUSA and the shooting and all that, saying it's all photoshopped, and they're just dumb shits. I mean, not dumb, but they refuse to look at any facts. They refuse to understand that this is all part of an Antichrist plot, and so therefore it needs to be called out. They refuse to understand. They just want people to shut up and sit down and do what Erica Kirk tells you to do. And that's not going to happen with the true believers. The next thing they'll be doing is she'll be telling you that chip is not really the mark, and then we'll be off to the races. I see the same corruption at TPUSA, even worse than the regular 501c3 churches. So that's my assessment so far, and that's pretty damning, so far of an assessment. I could be wrong, but I'm just simply follow the money. And the money shows me that the controllers of the world are fighting over who's going to get it, because they want to use it to influence the kids. So they were giving Charlie lots of money, and there's been a lot of money slushing around, and just a clamor to take over this thing. And then finally, Erica got her crown for nothing in Arizona. Kirk, the ball breaker she is, running the place with a whip, and Charlie's gone, and she's not even crying. She's like laughing, and she's so excited to get the TPUSA going. I see TPUSA falling apart, or falling into the hands of evil people. And so not falling apart, not the brand name probably, but as this sort of youth group recruiting center, a recruiting center. And no, TPUSA will not save your soul. Okay. And Charlie was earnest. I feel like he was on the Truman Show, surrounded by betrayers, surrounded by the enemy. And obviously, at the same time, if he's not dead, then he was told to sit down and shut up and go with the program. Because even that footage of the shooter running across the campus, that footage was taken at some other time, not during the shooting, like maybe a couple days earlier. So, I mean, everything they try to do is debunked. And the shooting itself is completely debunked. And the footage of them and what they were doing around Charlie afterwards is 100%, foul and obviously a psyop, a big one. And, they'll probably just redo Charlie, make him somebody else, and you'll have a life somewhere else. Who knows? Unless he's dead, which there's no real evidence of that. He had a wound, but it wasn't the carotid artery. There was a nurse that looked at all the footage, and she just was outraged with anger. And she just goes, "Where is the blood? I work in the ER. Anybody comes in with a neck wound like that, whenever the heart pumps, the blood goes all over the wall. Okay, every time it beats. And we had to wear face masks," she said, because the blood would get all over our faces when they're trying to stop it. Where was the medical intervention and where was the blood? There was no blood on the ground, except a little bit on the table. So what was that we witnessed? And then what was that with Trump playing the part of Satan, or an acolyte of Satan, giving away the bride, Erica, to the people, presenting her? It was not a memorial. It was a presentation of the queen, a presentation of, your new ruler. And there are people on the internet going around, literally, I got to start getting rid of some people, literally telling people to shut up. I mean, because all you have to do all day is slander and gossip about Erica Kirk. It's like, no, dude, you don't know the facts. You don't know the facts. The facts are that this entire thing is the entire thing, all of it, including the memorial, including the preparation for the memorial, and all the fireworks were intentional. It wasn't a mistake. It's bringing in a new, maybe Trump thought he was bringing in the golden age with presenting her in that way. But that would also show he's very Masonic. So you're fucked, America. And by the way, in Portland, Oregon, nobody ever showed up. Yeah, poor Nick Sotor was arrested by the police, but the cavalry never showed up. The ICE people never showed up to counter the Antifa. And they didn't. And Antifa, you have to understand what Antifa is. Trump doesn't seem to understand what he's up against. So let me explain it for the world. Antifa, global communism, New World Order, these are all the same thing. The idea of that the moniker they have, is Antifa has, is they want to kill everyone that isn't them. Okay, and they plan to do it on a certain day. And so they will kill a lot of people because Trump and company are not prepared. Either it's Kash Patel or Pam Bondi or any of them. They just. I've been listening to Carolyn Borsenko, or Carlin. Is it Carlin Borsenko? And she's basically lived with them. And Pia turned us on to her. And then I've been watching some of her videos where she'll make you watch a 3-hour video. That's their manifesto. That's them. And she's saying, get to know your enemy. Get to know who's going to kill you. Get to know why. So now she's also saying, and pointing out that LGBTQ, and we predicted all this. I mean, I hate even being rudimentary. I feel like like I'm talking to kindergartners. So LGBTQ and the whole violent queers is the next thing up on deck, not just trans. So queers, trans, LGBTQ, communism, abortion, blah, 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 New World Order, eat bugs and be happy, military takeover, collapse of the economy, collapse of your life, and then murdering you in the streets, murdering you, collecting you in a truck saying we're going to take you to a concentration camp because you don't have any house anymore. And then just stopping along the way on the country road, just like in the movie Civil War, blowing you all away. Just taking a machine gun and just blowing you all away, sticking you in those graves, and pouring whatever kind of chemical to stop the the smell and the whatever else going on, and then bury you. That's what they're planning on. They're planning on killing everyone. They're planning on killing listen, one more time. They're going to kill you and your entire family if nothing changes from where we are today. It's because people are ignorant about who the enemy is. And she was saying how everyone thinks George Soros funds Antifa. And then she said, no, they're self-funded. And, the world's unfair. And they know that they can't vote their way into a nicer world. They present a utopia that they're going to live in once they kill everyone. The reward for killing everyone is to have a nice world for them and their children. Of course, that's absurd. And but you go, well, but the United States military isn't doing shit. All right. And you've got I forget the name of the law firm, but Alex Jones had them after him. Something with the word McCooey in it, McCooey and blah blah, a law firm. They're already drafting indictments for every MAGA person or every supporter of Trump that they know about, that they find on social media. They're drafting indictments to, like, the day that the balloon goes up, they're going to arrest millions of people and put them all in concentration camps. And this is the plan for the revenge of the Democrat Party, which is the globalist. The Democrat is the globalist. It's global communism. It's just like the global queer movement is communism. In other words, to kill you or anyone that supported Trump will not get room and board. You're basically dead. Will you defend yourselves? The way things are going, I doubt anybody will be. I think they'll just be shooting fish in a barrel. I don't think people are going to be prepared. I don't think they're going to take up arms. I think they're going to just sit there and go through, enslavement syndrome. What is Stockholm syndrome, and just get on their knees and let them be executed, and while they execute their whole family. I wish it wasn't the case, but see, here's the problem. Neither Trump, nor the administration, nor the DOJ, nor the Department of Homeland Security has any clue what's going on. They don't realize this is like a huge military move that's coming. And that day, the day of death, will be the day where even kids turn guns on their parents and blow their heads off. This is all in the works. They're training right now, but the FBI is keeping all that training a secret. They have their propaganda films that everybody can watch where they're calling for this. They're calling for the mass extinction of humans except for them. They're calling for it on in 2028. And leading up to them, they want to have just chaos in the streets. They want to take down the institutions. They want to burn down the cities. So they want to burn out everything that has to do with capitalism. If you're a capitalist, you're basically dead. You're a dead man. You already have a target on your back, and you're basically a dead man walking at this point. So if you want to survive America, you got to tell Trump to wake the fuck up. He's trying with this. He's all in, and let me go into Trump. Yes, he's got America prospering, and the markets have been, fabulous. and things look like they're turning around, and it looks like America won't go through any kind of crash landing. There won't be any, collapse of the world economy, and that he's working on these peace deals where he feels he's almost got it with Israel and Gaza, but I wouldn't be so sure of that. But that's his focus, to the extent that he's not focusing on domestic terror. He labeled Antifa a terror group, but he doesn't have any idea that that also includes now the militant queers, LGBTQ, pretty much all abortion rights people, but not people on the left so much as people that are done with the system who are ready for communism, and they're the ones you have to worry about. Now, if it were me and I were president right now, if I were President Lincoln, let's say, it'd be very simple. I would, silence the legacy media completely, since they don't report the news anymore, and I would definitely, round up Antifa as a terrorist group and put them away in Gitmo or send them to Greenland or whatever, but get rid of them. I would do that 3 years ahead of the scheduled executions, and that way I would protect the people of America and protect America as a capitalist nation. Now, if you don't want a capitalist nation, then of course you can join them and overthrow it, but you're going to have to. They want to kill a lot of people. And when Nick Sordor, the conservative journalist, was trying to protect himself, I guess he was in Portland. The police arrested him and not the attacker, not the Antifa attackers. Okay? Just to let you know that the Portland police are Antifa. They're on the same side. There is no police versus Antifa. They're the same. They want to overthrow the country. They want a better world too. Who doesn't? So anyway, Carolyn Barasenko, get to know her and look at her videos, because she's the only one that's actually infiltrated deep into Antifa and knows what she's talking about. I can't recommend too many other people right now, but her definitely. She won't steer you wrong, but you'll get mad at Trump after. You'll get mad at Kash Patel. You'll get mad at Pam Bondi. You're gonna get mad at Dan Bongino. You're gonna feel like they set you up. They don't have any intention of quelling this revolution, because it's a global revolution. It's the New World Order, and no man's going to stand in the way of it. They'll give it lip service, but will they really stop it? Well, the way they're behaving now, they have no intention of stopping it. They're going to just let them keep going and keep taking over cities. And, the more Trump tries to deport people through ICE, the more Antifa is getting stoked up to go up against the police or, ICE or whoever, wherever they can. At some point, an ICE officer is going to get killed. And maybe at that point, it will wake up the administration. But it's going to, something like that's going to have to happen. As I look at over here at the TV over here, I see the protests are going on across the country. So we're ramping up for a huge anti-ICE thing. Okay, update on Bad Bunny in the NFL. Bad Bunny, he doesn't really want to go to the Super Bowl to be the big star of the Super Bowl, because he's so worried about ICE. He's trying to make the NFL make ICE go away. So they talked to Kristi Noem, the head of Department of Homeland Security, and she told them that we, Homeland Security and ICE and the whole gang, are going to be all over that Super Bowl, all over it. And so if you are illegal, if you're a criminal, if you're wanted for something, if you're any of these people, if you're if you're vulnerable in any way to the law, that you should avoid going to the Super Bowl. And I wouldn't be surprised if any number of terror groups are going to try to pull something to where they shut down the Super Bowl completely, especially if Bad Bunny decides not to go there. So now they're making it this cause celeb, Bad Bunny. And I didn't even know who he was at first. I just said, some trans guy. And it's like, well, it's not really a trans guy. He wears dresses on stage, but then so do a lot of misguided rockers. Men, they think they're being bold and rebellious by putting a dress on. I can't get over how fucking hilarious they are as clowns, but they're not being rebellious. They're being conformative. Why is it so difficult to understand conformity? Put the dress on, guys. Non-conformity, take the dress off. Should we have a drill? Or are you that fucking stupid that you know what? Your IQ has gone down so much that it's okay if you get killed. And in a way, it's like cleaning up the garbage, right? No, that was unfair, but I'm just desperate for you to get with reality. If I guess with AI, all of our IQs will go down. And maybe we'll all become garbage. We all have to be executed. And maybe that's the plan. To use AI to basically infect us with a IQ lowering disease called I can't even think unless I consult AI first. So anyway, enough of that. I'm what I sense is that, like, I see this TPUSA. I don't think any of those people are going to do anything. They're just going to be singing songs of Jesus while the machine guns come out and blow them away. And, it's Jesus even said, my people perish due to ignorance. And I don't think Charlie Kirk was teaching them about this situation. He was trying to make friends. He was trying to make connections. He was trying to show that dialogue will soften the war somehow. It will not. And obviously, he proved that the dialogue does not work. The same result is going to happen anyway. So, the warriors have to be warriors, and the warriors for Christ have to be warriors for Christ. And it's just going to be that way. It's not going to be you're out in the field all peaceful and everything, and then the helicopters come over and just strafe you, and that's the end of you. I mean, yes, you can go that way if you like. But you want to die on your knees begging while your kids are being trafficked, your wife being raped in front of you? Is that what you want? So you're going to have to, and let me just give you a word of practical advice. Now would be the time to get ammo before it runs out. And I'm sorry. I don't know really what else to tell you. I mean, you know all this already. You sense what I'm saying. You sense that everything I'm saying is accurate. That you're feeling those vibes of war and pain and struggle. And the Charlie Kirk assassination plot, by the American government, I guess, or a faction of it, really, really, really set the tone, didn't it? And let me tell the people that are going around bullying, telling people to shut up on Facebook and stop picking on the widow Kirk and all that stuff. Let me tell you something. God's not happy with people like you that want to squelch the truth. When people have questions, they should pursue the truth with discernment, truth and love, until they find out. And in the case of Madam Kirk, people like me are responding, with my video and our video, Pia and mine. We're responding to basically the show that was put on, the mocking show. We're not going to just sit there and take it. You people that are trying to, tell everyone stop slandering, and pretty soon you guys will be like Nazis turning people in to be, killed. You need to stop what you're doing and stop bullying people. Let me tell you something. The world doesn't feel good about the Charlie Kirk thing. Most of the TPUSA is now fragmented and split, and it's gonna continue to split. No matter how much you scream and yell, you backwards fools. You can scream and yell about Erica Kirk all you like, that she doesn't deserve this slander and this hostility, and it's like, yes, she does. Yes, she does. As much pressure as can be put on her and the organization, now that we know how much foul play there is, yes, it needs to happen in the name of Jesus, in the name of truth. And if she's a danger and leading people astray, then she really needs to be outed. And that's what some people feel. But you're not going to stop people from having questions, okay, bullies? You're not going to stop people. You're the same Christian bullies I've been dealing with my whole life. You're just intolerant. You're stupid. You're useless. Most of you are, pretty much over the hill anyway. And you just want people to behave the way you want them to behave. And they're not going to. The whole spirit of Christ is raucous. It's wild. It's free. It's not, if you want to behave like that and shut people up, go join Satan. That you'd be perfect for there. You could tell everyone to shut up. You could go teach a class and tell everyone to shut up and start mouthing back the party line. You'd be perfect at it. You would be a great communist and a great Nazi and a great fascist. But you don't belong in the Christian discussion of this. You just make yourself into a fool. And that's all I have to say about it. I just, I don't know why you want to disrupt people from looking into something, finding out the truth about a thing, or you answer my question, where's the blood? And then they go, well, I've, seen all the photoshopping and I'm not convinced. It's like, no, that's a pat statement from an ignorant, bigoted person. Okay? So leave the truth seekers alone. And don't worry about their salvation. Worry about your own. Okay? Can you do that? No, I know you want to fight me now, but I mean, but your fight is Antichrist. You're fighting for Antichrist. You're mocking Jesus on the cross. And you want to do that, you go right ahead, but that's just like what Erica Kirk did. She was mocking Christ. And she was mocking the crowd. And so is Trump. And maybe Trump's too stupid to figure this out. You think so? He's too fucking dumb. And you people that all kept telling me he was a genius, in some things he is, in other things he isn't. Just like a lot of us. So, anyway, I was wrong about Diddy doing time. He will do 4 years and then he can get credit for time served. So he's back to maybe 1.5 years. He'll be in prison and he'll be out again. Whether he does what he did, Diddy kept the. Got one more thing to say about Epstein. Now we're talking about this. The role of the U.S. government with Epstein and the role of Trump is to cover up the Epstein files, okay? And so that no one will ever be named or go to prison from Epstein. Now, when the Charlie Kirk thing was going down, they signed into law this covering up of the Epstein files. Did you know that? Probably did. Isn't that an interesting part of this story of the Utah shooting of Epstein, showing that the American government and the administration, the Trump administration, has basically vowed to all the people who participated in going to, Pedophile Island, don't worry, your secret will never come out. Of course, I will blackmail you. You'll have to do what you're told. But if you do what you're told and play your cards right, you will never hear about this again. Okay? And anybody else who has any other thoughts about Trump being perfectly pure, he does some things right, like what he's trying to do with the peace thing and the economy, and hopefully that works out. But this Charlie Kirk, there will be spiritual consequences. There will be karma. People who did this will reap what they've sown. Whoever's in on this will reap the whirlwind, and their lives will be destroyed. And their power will be gone, and their money will be gone, and their country probably will be gone because they crossed the line and then they lied about it. That's the way it's looking. Otherwise, find me the 30-06 bullet. Thank you. Can't find it, huh? Okay, find me the blood that's all over the shoes and all over the T-shirts of everybody. Oh, no blood, huh? Okay, find me the ambulance that took Charlie Kirk away. He was put in an SUV, carried there by his friends. Oh, okay. Find me the shooter. He's running across the campus. That wasn't the day of the shooting, okay? That was staged. All right, so find me something else. What's my proof? My proof is the people were not running as they were when the shot rang out. People ran and flooded that area at trying to leave, thinking there was a shooting. And so that guy, when he ran across there, no shooting had taken place, because had it taken place, there'd be people leaving. And I'm so sick of playing 2 + 2 is 4 with you. Yeah, then you want to get in and scream in your social media and try to hush people up, even if we have the edge on logic, even if we have the facts. You want us all to shut up. That we're standing in the way of Christ saving souls. Go fuck yourself. You're wrong. Okay, that's my Christian love for you. You need tough love. So I just dealt it. And if you can't handle that, then, go worship your dick. Right? Isn't that what most people do? How brilliant. And I will see you next time. It's going to be harsh around here. I'm after what's happened and the threat of Antifa and the city's falling apart. Someone has to say something. And I'm a little bit angry because people are not listening, especially the administration and, DOJ, Department of Homeland Security. They're just without a clue. No clue. Don't know. Oh. Maybe it'll become more clear when people get killed. I know there's a great deal of energy going into not killing an ICE agent for Antifa. But if one does get killed, we'll be off to the races then. But is that what it's going to take to wake people up? And then if you want the communism, go join Antifa. You're not going to get it by voting.
I'm going to the corner store, find some rope to hang a phone. I'm going to the edge, find all the people that fled from me. I'm going finally on my way. I'm taking no prisoner. Finally, they will pay. Look who snuck in our back door. They've done it a time before.
He belongs to every race, every creed, and every color. And we're going to do everything in our power to prevent it.
I'm going to the corner store, find some rope side of the road. Look at you, look at me. I am finally on my way. You can't stop me now. I'm going to the store, find something to live for. You won't get away that easily. Yeah. Ring it down.
Fellas, we didn't ask you here this evening to criticize you for the things that you've done. Rather, we're going to ask you to cooperate with us by discussing your misunderstanding.
Run, go, find your peace. You won't be able to release your pain. Look around on that corner. They wait for you. Even now, you won't see anything different today. I wish you go away. I'm going to the store, find me some rope to hang for.